So welcome everyone. My name is Mark Miller, and this evening is our regular Career Pivot office hours. We're here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which is 9 o'clock Eastern Time and 6 o'clock Pacific Time. And you figure out what time that mountain is, or GMT -5. I think it's something like 2 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning. So tonight's topic is an interesting one,
Yes,
which is the anatomy of a passive candidate's LinkedIn profile. So I am here with my lovely assistant.
Hello, hi, hey, hello everyone. I'm Elizabeth. I work for an environmental engineering firm, but I also help Mark Miller on the side with his social media and his office hours. So here I am.
Well, great. This was kind of a second part of a two-part series. The first one was, are you a great, excellent passive candidate or a turkey?
Which was last week.
Which was last week. So we're going to talk about this week what it is to be a, essentially how to be a good passive candidate online and looking completely at your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth and we'll get the discussion going.
Okay. I looked over your blog post and I noticed that you talk about two phases in being a passive candidate on LinkedIn. And can you tell us a little bit more about those two phases, what they are and how you are one?
To be a good passive candidate, there are two things that have to happen. First, they have to find you.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And so you want to create your LinkedIn profile such that you are found typically by LinkedIn search, that people will actually find and look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second step is, once they get there, is for them to actually reach out and touch you. Yeah. And those are two very distinct behaviors, and you're going to have to do two very distinct things to your LinkedIn profile. To number one, get them to your profile, and then getting them to actually do something with your profile.
Yeah, that's very true. So what does a candidate need to do to their LinkedIn profile to be found? What is it?
Well, and there's another blog post which is referenced in the blog post on, thinking like a recruiter. Mm-hmm. Where most people are found is by search.
Yes.
And so it's appropriately building the keywords into your search. Building into your LinkedIn profile such that you are found.
Okay.
So first thing is, and again, there's a link to a post and a video that I did on how to find keywords. You want to harvest keywords from your target company's websites, from job descriptions, and then you want to place those keywords very strategically. Mm-hmm. The first place you want to put those keywords is in the headline.
Yeah.
The headline's 120 characters, and I happen to like where it is all keywords separated by some separating character. I happen to like the vertical bar. Some people use the asterisk or splat. There are various different ways you can separate it, but they should be done in the order.
Okay.
The second place you're going to do is you're going to put a keyword section at the end of your summary.
Okay.
In other words, you're going to say, at the end of the summary, you're going to say keywords, keyword, 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 and you can separate them with a vertical bar or a comma, whatever you want.
Okay.
And they should be all the keywords that are applicable for your career.
Okay.
The next thing you're going to do at the end of each job section, so I have a job section for Career Pivot. I have a job section for my Life Size Communications, which is the previous company I worked for. And what you want to do is put all the keywords in for each one of those jobs. The key thing is be honest.
Okay.
So when people search, they're searching based on current job title and keywords. So number one, you've got to be able to have all the keywords in there, and the more often a keyword shows up, the higher you're going to rank.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. All right.
The other thing is, in your current job, you want to put every variation of the job title, because recruiters are searching, sourcers, as we say, recruiting sourcers. They are out searching, and they're searching on the current job title.
Okay. Okay.
So I use the example in the post, in the post I reference, is if you're a product manager, but if you also do product marketing, you might put product manager, vertical bar, product marketing manager. Again, you have to be honest. I've seen people who are doing, they're business analysts, but by the way, besides being a business analyst, they're a project manager.
Okay.
You want to put every variation in there. Again, don't lie.
Okay.
If there are various variations or terminologies used to mean the same thing, put them all in there. And I believe the current job title is something like 200 characters long, so it can be quite long.
Okay.
Again, I can't emphasize, you've got to be honest, but that's how people are going to find you. If you are unemployed, you need a current job title, which means go create your own company.
Okay.
I use the example, I used to have a business called Global Basis Consulting. All I did was go down to Travis County, get a DBA, doing business as for Global Basis Consulting. I used to have the globalbasis.com, and I sold it for $1,000.
Oh, wow. That's nice. That's a nice dinner.
somebody finally wanted it.
Okay.
And the idea is that allows you to be found. Okay. You're going to come up in searches. The other way to be found is, by the way, is go look at recruiters' LinkedIn profiles.
Yep.
Go look at people who are working at the company where you want to work, and look at their profiles. Yeah. And wait until they look back. Okay. When they look back, you send them a connection request saying, hey, I saw you looked at my profile. Can we talk?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, can you, what about the kind of the trendy, cliche job titles like thought leader or, reality, I don't know, creator of the greater good or something of that nature? How do you, I know those are really cool and trendy right now, but are they?
No one's searching on it.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
The key piece, I'm trying to get them there. Okay. Once they're there, I can use those kinds of verbiage.
Okay.
But I won't use it in the job title.
Okay.
I might use it in the job description or my description of my tasks. I might put it in the summary.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be. It's kind of like it's. If you're using in your current headline and you put looking for new opportunities, by the way, no one's searching on that.
Okay.
And the first thing you've got to do is get them to your profile.
Get them to reading your profile.
Right? Okay. And so now that once we got them to your profile, then we go to phase 2.
Yes. And so one of the things that they'll look at when they get to your profile is the header. And the header image is new, we noticed here. And so what can you use with that real estate? How can you use?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. And I'm going to bring up the LinkedIn header, and let's see if I can make this work right. And you tell me whether I'm going to close this out. And let me close that out. And hopefully I'm going to show you a sample. And you tell me whether you see this or not. Can you see Viveka's profile? Elizabeth, are you still there?
Here I am.
Elizabeth, are you?
Yeah, here I am. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Well, it's kind of you're down anyway. Yeah. Were you able to see the Viveka's LinkedIn profile?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this is Viveka von Rosen, or my buddy, LinkedIn expert. And what it is that background image is 1,400 wide and 450. The key piece is it's an image. And that text in there is not text, it's an image. So doing things like putting in your your telephone number and your email and a call to action. On mine, I have both my logo, my telephone number, my email address, and my 2 pictures of my 2 books, and I've been slowly adding to it. The interesting one is you can put contact information, and I'm going to go close this down. And
Okay.
you're interesting because you're now down below and I can't see you anymore, which is kind of interesting. But
Well, I'm right next to you on my screen, so
yeah, well, you're on the bottom of mine. So, and let me go ahead and lock this and see if it makes a difference. Anyway,
okay.
The idea here is you can put your contact information and it won't be screen scraped by spammers.
Yep.
And that image should brand you. I've had one client who put various pictures of the different places in the world he has lived: Sydney, South Africa, Israel,
Oh wow. Okay.
San Francisco, and it was the idea is to brand yourself. You can do a lot. Now that image will look differently whether you are on mobile and whether you're on the iPhone or on the Android.
Okay.
On the iPhone, it will not. The image won't. You can't turn it landscape, which you can do on the Android app. So in my case, I have my books in the top right and left-hand corners. You can't see that on the iPhone. So you kind of have to play around with it. But
Okay.
this is a great place to say, if you're looking for a job or you are, you're a hot commodity, or you want to portray yourself as a thought leader, then I would put stuff in there that portrays you as a thought leader.
In your field of subject, your subject field. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's an image.
Yeah.
And if you're highly creative, I put something highly creative out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So
right.
Once you've got that, then you move down primarily to your summary. Your summary should tell your brand story. The summary is 2,000 characters long. It should be in first person and tell your story. Why should I care about you?
Yes.
Then you move down right below that, and you should be able to put your, number one, if you've been writing LinkedIn publisher posts, they will appear right below your, if you position it properly.
Yeah.
And the idea is demonstrate that you know your stuff.
Yeah.
I just had a client generate a 21-page white paper that was nothing more than a giant sales document that demonstrates that he knows his stuff. And now what I have him doing is that's an attachment to his summary, which he references in his brand story to say, by the way, go read my document. And then we're going to break up that document into about 8 or 10 pieces and put his LinkedIn publisher posts. In other words, it shows he really knows his stuff.
Yep.
And when someone sees that, they go, ooh, I want to call them. Yes, recruiters will call you on a phone.
They won't email you?
Well, they might email you, but you'll find more often that they typically have better luck if they call.
Yeah. Well, they can get a better reading for you as a person.
Correct.
When you're talking to somebody.
And so the key piece here is I am working on getting them to reach out and touch me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to just tell them that I can do this stuff. I want to demonstrate that I can do this stuff.
So as they always say on your resume, don't tell me that you can do something, show me you can do something. You write the description, tell the story or whatever, and you have a resume and a LinkedIn profile to tell your story in greater detail. So LinkedIn has a lot of real estate, so use it, tell all kinds of stories. And if you have to keep your resume short, then, tell them to go look at your LinkedIn profile.
That's right. And so the idea here is show me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of us who are older, that is,
that's hard.
We're not supposed to brag. And so, putting work product out there. So let's see, we are now almost 20 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any questions? Does anyone want to grab a seat? I'm gonna unlock the seat.
How do people use their LinkedIn profile? Have you put an image up? Have you added posts or publishings or anything like that? Tell us what you've done with your profile. I'm just listening to Mark. I realize I need to get busy. I need to get mine and organize a little bit better. Well, it's good, but there's always room for improvement there.
Yeah, one of the key things is also to remember is what does your picture say about you?
Yep.
Be very clear. What does your picture say?
Yeah.
There is, I put it in the blog post, there is a website called Photo Feeler, PHOTO FEELER. You rate other people's other people's pictures, and then you get other people's rate yours. And one of the things to think about is, what do you want people to think when they see it?
Yeah.
You're smart, you're intelligent, you're creative.
Are you approachable?
Approachable.
Mm-hmm.
In my one blog post on pictures, I used my buddy Scott Ingram's picture, where the camera is above and he's looking up.
Mm-hmm.
He's a sales guy. He wants to be approachable.
Yeah.
So, Tracy, what do you mean I use it sparingly only? What do you mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what she has to say. Am I saying that you're Miss Resume Workshop? And so, it's it's really critical that you look at, okay, what does the profile say about you? And the key piece is to get lots and lots of feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't write LinkedIn profiles for my clients. Yes, actually, I teach my clients how to write the LinkedIn profile. Sometimes I do. If you get on my website, I have a blog post on. I have 3 different ways I write the LinkedIn profiles. When I write brand stories, it's one of 3 ways. The first one is if there's been a common theme that has weaved their way through their career. I've had a number of clients like that. 2, if there's a common event. I used the example with mine. My event that molded me to doing what I'm doing today is my bike accident. I hit a car head on at 50 miles an hour about 14 years ago. I had one client where you could tie everything back to her being a ballerina. The third is I have any number of clients who fit in a box, i.e. we do a strong branding statement, then we do 3 proof points, and then we close it out with a strong ending. And the Resume Workshop says I only view it to see if they have one, and if they don't have one, I advise them that they need it, or they need to update it if they're in an active job search. Yes, it's probably one of the biggest mistakes people make is putting things off their resume in there, which is usually in third person. Your summary should always be written in first person. It's your story. And that's kind of foreign very often for a lot of us.
Well, and I think people need to remember that using your resume and your LinkedIn profile need to go together, and use them hand in hand, and make sure your story or the statements that you put on both are correct and accurate, and they tie back and forth. So
yes.
So yeah. So harmony.
So we have here we have, if I customize a resume for a job, I look like a different person on LinkedIn. Yes, I've heard opposite views on how much detail to include on LinkedIn. Yeah, that is an issue, particularly if you are if you do multiple different things. As I say, multi-potentialites. It's also written here, I also let them know that their profile is not a twin to the resume, but it should be complement their resume only. That is very true.
Oh, very true.
They should complement one another. One of the big challenges I've had with people, I've worked with a lot of Dell refugees over the years, even before I start my business. And one of the things they would tell you was, well, I can do marketing, I can do product management, I can do program management, I can do project management, I can do sales, I can do product marketing. And they'll rattle on and on and off, and I'll basically say, well, what you just told me is you suck at everything, because you can't be good at all of them. And she says, I'm a Bell refugee. Well, I'm an IBM refugee. No, I meant Dell, or better yet, is often referred to as Dell hell. Dell constantly does layoffs. They do micro layoffs all the time. Living in Austin, Texas, and Dell is the largest private employer here in Austin with about 14,000 employees. They're the fifth largest employer, but they're the largest private employer. There are a lot of Dell refugees. Verizon refugee, constant layoffs. Yes. The telecommunications, my first startup was bought out by Lucent, and Lucent Microelectronics has spun out as a Gear Systems. When a Gear Systems was spun out, we had 19,000 employees. When I left 2 years later, and I volunteered for a layoff, we had 6,000. They hemorrhaged. And so there are a lot of Lucent refugees. So with that, anybody want to grab a seat? If not, I'm gonna kind of close this out. But hopefully this has been worthwhile. The key takeaway is to be a good passive candidate, which means you're in a job, you're not actively looking, but you want to be found. And if somebody finds you, you will at least consider the position. The idea here is you gotta position yourself to be found, and then you want them to call you. Now there is, and I put in the blog post an article by Viveka on how to create the header image. That's relatively new, and I'm still playing around with it myself. And I'm not artistic, but trying to figure out how to, what plays when and where can be, put bluntly, trial and error. I've been creating images, loading them into the profile, see if they still look right. When you're looking at your own profile, it's hard to figure out whether it looks right. Because it looks different than when you look at someone else's. And because they've got all this stuff around it and the trim and and so it's very helpful. It's very helpful if you have another ID, which I don't have, and I may consider creating. So with that, this will go live on the blog on Thursday. I will upload this to YouTube. If you're viewing this and you're on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. If you're viewing it on the blog, please give me a comment. Please socially share it. And we'll see you next week. And next week, we're going to talk about essentialism.
Yes, we are.
And essentialism is Elizabeth
It's a book that was written a couple years ago, and the whole premise is to learning how to say no to things in your life. As I said, say no to the noise. There's a lot of noise out there, and helping you. The book helps you distinguish between what's important and what's not important, and then how to say no, and then to prepare yourself for some other reaction that you might get. So it'll be good.
Yeah, it's how to do less.
Yes.
Which is, for a lot of us in this very sped up world, is very important.
Yes.
So with that, see you next week. And next week's blab session is already set up, so you can sign up for it. And goodbye.
All right. We'll see you next week. Bye now.